Welcome to First Responder Financial Freedom Podcast. We talk to first responders all over the nation who are investing and working on businesses outside of their first responder jobs. Our goal is to motivate and educate each other and help provide a better financial understanding for a better future. Now here are your hosts, Mike Webb, Tyler Thrush, and Aaron Foster.
First Responder Financial Freedom. We're on episode number 23 with Trevor Pozoulakis. Did I do it right?
Pozoulakis, you were close enough.
Pozoulakis. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Greek ones always get me, man. I don't know what it is.
They get a lot of people, so it's all good.
So Trevor comes to us with Coopers Couches, and Coopers Couches is a company that he started about a year ago during COVID, buying furniture, or buying couches and flipping them, and made a six-figure business out of it in the last year alone. Not only did he did that, he's also getting married soon. Congratulations. He just got engaged. He is flipping between 15 and 25 couches per week. He's about to pass 1,000 couches flipped so far. He's got a VA. He is expanding his business into online website. So we're going to kind of get into this whole thing with Trevor and just kind of go over how he started, what he did before this, and what his plans are. So Trevor, thanks for coming to hang out with me, Mike, and Tyler. So what did you do before you were flipping couches?
Before I was flipping couches, I was in school. I was working sales jobs. I was working as a soda vendor. I mean, you name it, I probably did it. I was a bank teller. I tried pretty much everything and anything. And I thought they were kind of all wasteful jobs until I realized I kind of learned something from each job. And then eventually I was in school for IT, and I got a job with a Fortune 500 company called NCR. So I was doing software, I was doing security, and I was doing physical labor for them. And pretty much started going into some more advanced stuff with them. I was with them for about a year plus, and then I started experiencing some medical issues. And that's kind of when I didn't really know what my next step was. I lost my job. I lost my benefits. I had dislocated shoulder from having a seizure. I was just kind of all over the place, and pretty much just took all my savings. And it's definitely emotional for me.
So it burned up all your savings when you went through it. So your medical issues kind of led you to be like, I can't do a 9 to 5. So what can I do? I'm gonna start a new business, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I watch videos on YouTube, and you see these people living on private islands, driving their Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and you're just like, is this even real? And until you give it a shot, you never really know. So I just kept hearing about couch flipping, and I just thought it sounded too stupid. And I was following a guy named Ryan Pineda, and really successful entrepreneur, and I really like what he has to say and what he teaches. And I gave it a shot. I pretty much just gave it a shot, and we were losing money at first, and didn't have a system. We're kind of just all over the place. We didn't know how to transport the couches. A year down the road, we're almost at 1,000 couches sold. We have 2 trucks. We have 5 storage units. We're working on getting a warehouse, and we're just working on our website at the moment too. So it's a crazy year.
I want to know how you grew. Like, how did you go from like finding couches, flipping them, selling them, marketing them? Like, what was your first couple steps? You said you were losing money at first. Like, what led into this?
Yeah. So when we first started out, it was just me and a partner that I actually, let me rewind real quick. So I started getting into real estate after I lost my job because I heard about wholesaling. I was doing Uber and Lyft just to make ends meet. And I wholesaled my first property for $10,000. And it took me about 2 months to make it happen. I wasn't even trying to wholesale. I just found this property. I got lucky, gave him a call, and built the relationship. We made the deal. And after that, I went on in about 6 months to 8 months, did some JV deals with some other investors. And then I pretty much created my own mentorship. We had about 100 students nationwide. It was going pretty well. I had a manager local in the DMV area. But unfortunately, some things happened. had to pretty much cut ties with a partner. And from there, wasn't really sure what my next step was, but I knew that the mentorship wasn't it. So pretty much took my knowledge and my experience from that venture and wanted to create something else. So that's when I started looking into some YouTube and just kind of seeing what else was out there. So from that step, I took another partner and we tried to make it happen with the couch flipping. However, we were unexperienced, didn't have a lot of funds. We pretty much just put out whatever we could to make whatever we could happen. But unfortunately, we didn't know what to look for. We didn't know what to pay for the couches. We didn't know how to market. We didn't know how to advertise. We knew nothing. So my girlfriend, who's now my fiance, was working as a luxury leasing apartment complex, like salesperson, essentially. So she was leasing apartments to people, and she's been doing that for the past like 3 years. But she wasn't super content with it. And I know she did some accounting in her past life. So I was like, hey, if you don't really like your job, do you want to come see what you can make of this couch thing with me? I know you're good with numbers. So honestly, I had the idea to come up with it, but if it wasn't for her, getting the numbers right, figuring out our profit margins on every flip, our gas expenses, our unit expenses, you name it, it wouldn't be here today.
So your better half, when they say your better half, they're not lying.
Yeah. No, my better half.
All right, so let's talk about Coopers Couches a little bit. So Coopers Couches started in August of 21. So we're coming up on almost on a year of it. And Cooper is your dog. That's who it's named after. Your little bulldog sitting behind you right now.
Yep.
So if you hear a little bark, it's probably from Cooper in the background chewing on his pig ear.
Yep.
So from the inception of Coopers Couches, she stepped in to help you with the financial numbers. What was the next step? Like, how did you decide to market? How did you decide to use storage unit facilities? How do you scale?
So, we definitely were looking to get in this for as little as possible, just because we lost a lot of money going into it at first. So, Facebook Marketplace it's been amazing for us. It's been truly amazing. OfferUp as well has been great. We started marketing, and then we kind of came up with a script. I think the biggest success out of everything we've done is all the failures that we've actually had. Because without those failures, we wouldn't know how to market. We wouldn't know how to deliver a couch and what to let people know about different delivery options and different delivery radius. We offer 30-mile radius, out of Linthicum Heights, Maryland. If you're over that, we charge you an extra fee. There's just so many things, and especially with COVID and with inflation, gas prices have gone up. It's literally been a trial and error business to this day.
Trevor, you said you market. So is that so obviously to acquire these couches, you have to basically scour these things, which I imagine is time intensive, but there's ways to set up alerts and if this, then that type things. How do you go about that side of marketing, or the acquisition side? And then also, how do you go about marketing for the disposition side of this business?
Yeah. So at this time, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and a little bit of Craigslist. We do some estate sales. We also got into auctioning a little bit. That is primarily where we're getting our inventory. Just people either, they say one person trash is one person treasure. It's so true. We find couches that people they think they're just complete garbage. We go around and we spend about 4 or 5 hours on them, and we flip them for $600-700. So, to answer your question, just really social media as far as the acquisition has been amazing for us, and it's free. The only thing about it, like you said, it's very time intensive, and I'm definitely on my phone a little more than I would like to be in my laptop. As far as disposition goes, it's fairly simple. We definitely start at a certain price point for all of our couches. My fiance does the listings, so I don't touch that side. I've worked on the script a little bit, but she does all the disposition work, and then we just have a calendar. For all of we have 4 contractors. And they just read the calendar, see what's going out, see what's coming in. And it's kind of like a well-oiled machine.
So they, when you say contractors, the contractors do all the fixing up of them?
Correct. So we have two, I would say, two full-time restorators / deep cleaners. And then we have two people that are really in the field doing deliveries and pickups.
So Trevor's not going down the road in his pickup truck to pick up the couch at the estate sale, bring it back, and throw a little Armor All on it and then post it.
No.
Like, you basically have built a system
Yes.
where somebody picks it up, somebody restores it, somebody delivers it.
Absolutely.
And your hands don't touch it in either of those steps.
I wouldn't say they don't touch it. I would say that we are still a startup to the point where my hands do get dirty. And
Yeah,
I'm not afraid of them getting dirty, because I know if we want to build this to be a 7-figure business, we just hit 6 figures, but I think this year we could possibly do 7 figures in sales. That's going to require me to be in the field. So.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think we're all familiar with how the gritty entrepreneur role is. Like, some days you're the business CEO, some days you are the copy repairman, the whatever it is that needs done. So I get that. So your typical acquisition, are you paying, like, are you buying these at discounted prices? Are you getting most of them free, or is it just a mix of all of that?
Majority of couches we definitely pay for. A lot of people are understanding that, oh, well, if I clean it up, I put 2-3 hours of worth of work into it, I can resell it for X amount of money too. So yeah, we pay anywhere between, I'd say, $100 and $400 for a couch.
And what's reselling them?
Our average flip is around $350.
That's your exit price or your margin?
That is, so if we buy them for $400, we'll sell for $750.
Okay.
Yeah. So you make them for about $300 to $400 per drop, pick up and drop.
Yep. However, with inflation, we've been around the $450 to $550 mark, which has been interesting.
And you're full. You're at full capacity right now.
So we're getting a little. I would say this past week it was a little slower. We had about 14 couches come in. I mean, the week is not over, but we're flipping them for a little bit higher with less inventory.
So I've noticed that so I met Trevor sometime in the last year when my Wolfhound chewed up my first couch. So Trevor actually brought me a second one as a second chew toy for my Wolfhound. And that's when I met him. And his partner, one of the guys that works with him, he actually met on a video game system, playing video games, and asked him if he wanted to, come work for him. And he did. How did you find the people that are working for you other than him?
So one of our other contractors is his younger brother.
Okay.
And then let me see, flyers. I went to Howard Community College. I said, you know what? There's got to be some people with some hustle here. So, I put up some flyers, and within about a couple weeks, got a call from a lady. She said, I know my boyfriend won't call you because he's not the type to do this kind of thing, but I know he would want to make some money. So, what can you do for him? So let's bring him in for an interview. What's the worst that can happen? He's been one of our greatest assets to the business.
So in terms of equipment, like, because I know you got a trailer, I know you got a truck. Like, how did you acquire the equipment? How did you figure out what equipment you wanted to buy? Because you've been looking at getting bigger trailers.
Yeah. So we started with about $1,000 in equipment. We've been renting. So we have 2 pickup trucks. We've been renting U-Haul trailers, enclosed U-Haul trailers, for about a year now. So we spent about $8,000 a year in U-Haul trailer rentals.
Okay.
So that's been a big expense for us. So we are definitely looking to purchase our own trailers. That is definitely coming in the near future.
It's interesting to see, like, when you bootstrap a company from the ground up, which is exactly what you did, is you figure it out where I can buy them, where I can sell them, how to market them, how do I get them to and from. And one of the things that Trevor offers is delivery, which a lot of people don't. So he basically get a refurbished couch with free delivery built into the price. So when I was talking to Trevor about this before, we were saying how if you buy a trailer and you register it in Maine, your cost goes way down for the registration fees. You don't have to get it inspected and the annual upkeep on them, depending on what state you're in and stuff like that. So like as he's bootstrapping this company, Trevor is now reducing his cost because he has money coming in to pay for stuff that's he can own instead of having to rent. So have you decided like what route to go in with these trailers yet?
At the moment, we have built really good relationships with U-Haul. Pretty much every single one in the Anne Arundel County area. So they really treat us good. You know, they give us discounts, and they're always available for us. So as of next month. So when we're a full year in business in August, we'll have a business partnership with them. Okay. So that'll give us a little bit more benefits. And I mean, a trailer we're looking for is probably going to run us about $5 to $10 grand. So just trying to play it safe right now, especially with the market, the changing market and the recession coming up. Well, it's already started really.
So you think that, do you think there's going to be let me step back. So the area that Trevor works in is between like the Baltimore, Annapolis, and DC area. So he's got this little triangle of area to fill in. So you've got 1 million people in the DC area, you've got 1 million people in the Baltimore area, and then you have the infill of the counties surrounding our little triangle. So he's got a very strong market of people to rent from. And it's a very transient area where people are always coming and going. So because people are coming here for anywhere from 6 months to 2 years and then turning around and going back to where they're from, it's transient. So people they need stuff for now. So a lot of stuff is bought relatively new, then turn around and sold for a discount. That's where Trevor comes in, picks it up, turns around and sells it for a profit. But he's willing to bootstrap it by picking it up, doing the dirty work, or hiring guys to come pick them up and move them around. But you figure, so what we say, 15 to 25 couches a week, we'll say 1,000 couches a year. Yep. So you do the math. So it's, what do you want to go over your numbers at all?
In terms of profit margins
for the year, like what you were making when you started out versus now?
Yeah. So when we first started out, first 5 months in business, we did like 135 for the year. Just the 5 months. This year, we're on track to do about half a mil roughly. And then with the website launch, which is coming next month, projecting around $1 million, hopefully. We're going to be offering financing options. Currently, it's cash and credit/debit card.
Is that gross or is that net? So your gross sales are $500,000, and then you're netting.
Gross. Yeah, gross.
Okay.
Yep.
But you're still netting 6 figures off of that.
Still.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll put the fire department. Fuck this.
Yep. Couches are dirty, Aaron. You don't want any parts of it.
So are some of the houses I go in, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You can come for a ride along.
Yeah.
So that's pretty decent. So how many couches, like volume wise, I don't know what kind of, if you keep KPIs or what you look at, but ideally, how many couches do you need to bring in and then sell on a day or bi-week basis? Like, do you have a company goal?
The most we've done so far, I think, is 27. But we average around, I'd say,
a week,
18 to 20 per week. Yes.
Okay.
So pick up, clean it, bring it to the storage unit. We'll go over that next. Pick up, bring it to the storage unit, clean it, market it, and then turn around and deliver it and sell it.
Yep.
It sounds so simple, but it's not.
No. It's not simple. I promise.
Yeah, I know it's not.
So how do you determine, like, hey, this couch is salvageable, or that one's not going to sell? Like, have you had to determine that, or?
We break a lot of hearts. I'm going to be honest. We break a lot of hearts. People say, oh, well, you promised me you can give me 2. I didn't promise you. I said if it conveys the condition that you're telling me. So, stains, rips, tears, pet-free, smoke-free, for a reason. So when we arrive and, it doesn't convey the condition that you told me, I'm either going to come down on my price or just not take your couch. So we try to be really transparent, simple process, but for whatever reason, sometimes people don't really care to be honest about their couch. They just want it gone. They're moving. So
They do that with houses too. Oh,
Yeah,
it just needs a little paint,
Paint
little
carpet.
carpet. And you get
Yep.
there and it's like, bro, I can see through the roof.
Yep. It's got serious foundations issue, man. Yeah, it's like, yeah, no.
So you said
Trevor's also been dabbling in real estate.
100,000.
I do dabble in real estate. Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll go over that towards the end because I kind of want to stay in this couch kick. So Mike is about to close on his first storage unit facility.
Oh, awesome.
Up by him in northern western Maryland, I guess. So Trevor, you run your business out of a storage facility. I know we talked about this a couple of times. So how did you pick and choose them? Are they catering to you? Are they open to you? Like how does that relationship work?
So we got very fortunate with Extra Space Storage. Being a large company, they don't really have too many like big wigs around all the time. So the people that were actually there, which were like two people, just the manager and the assistant manager. I mean, they're like family to us. As long as we don't make a lot of noise, we don't have our boombox. Wow, I'm dating myself. I'm dating all of us. We don't have our
cassette player,
our Beats, massive Beats stereo going off. Our steam cleaners being pretty quiet. They don't bother us, and we've been contemplating this warehouse thing for the longest time because, oh, hey, Trevor, I see you got a couch. Is this real or is this a scam? They find us online. It's like, no, we're out of the Extra Space Storage. You can come and see it. You don't have a store? No, we don't. And then they're just not interested. But then you get some people that are like, I just want a couch. I'll come see it. So no, they've been amazing. They really have. And it still almost makes no sense to get a warehouse right now. So
how many storage units are you using right now? Give or take.
5.
So you're using 5 storage units. You're paying for 5 storage units. You're using those to clean the couches and repair the couches. And your cost for those 5 storage units is still cheaper than you going out and buying a warehouse or renting a warehouse because
then you don't have to deal with a lot of the day-to-day stuff of owning that warehouse. But you also don't get any of the benefits of, so like Trevor LLC could own the warehouse and then the couch company could, like Cooper Couches has a lease with your property company. So there's a lot of different ways you could structure that and then sublease out to other places to kind of spread out the income. But
good idea.
Yeah, so like, because then you can basically lease to other businesses to basically get your place
paid for.
Covered. Yeah. So, and you get the depreciation, you get the appreciation and a lot of other things. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I never even realized businesses operated out of storage facilities until I started looking at that asset class. And it's just crazy the amount of people that do use those as like the final mile, or if they call it like final mile of delivery or something like that. So where they'll store a lot of product there, like a regional distribution center, say like they have like another area that's further west, they'll keep a bunch of product there so they don't have to go clear back to the regional center to deliver it. But yeah, you got people restoring couches, you got the little scooters, you got people that store. It's just kind of crazy to me. I never thought about it that way, but
so years ago, I used to go to storage auctions before it got popular on the Storage Wars, and I remember going to one of them, and I can't remember where it was, but it was somewhere around the University of Maryland. Then the guy opened up the storage unit, and there's a whole bunch of like food, like perishable, non-perishables, like bag candy, bag chips, and I was like, I'll give you $5 for it. And the guy who was in the frat next to me, who I was talking to, he was like, I'll give you 10. And I was like, whatever, $10. And a rat ran out from underneath of the food. And the fucking guy was like, sold. I was like, thank God. Because it was like somebody was running a food distribution service of non-perishables out of a warehouse. And obviously there's hiccups like rats that come along with that. But I thought it was kind of interesting years ago. And then when I met Trevor and found that he runs basically a refurbished couch company out of a warehouse, like that makes sense. Like less overhead. Like if he doesn't have the funds to buy a massive warehouse now, then this makes sense. Like just use it to your advantage.
If I had even just a nickel for everybody that laughed at me that when I told them I work out of a storage unit, I'd be rich.
But I've seen people work on motorcycles and cars and storage units. So like, you're not the only one. You're not the first.
Yeah, there's people that run car maintenance facilities out of them. Like, so I wouldn't. Who cares if people left? They're not the ones doing work. So
They also
you're not
making
you're
some
not going to be
things.
criticized by anybody doing more than you. It's only the people that just like to shit talk.
You know
So-
what? You got to start somewhere. And if it wasn't for the storage unit, we wouldn't be anywhere at the moment. You know, we'd be looking for a warehouse and probably overspending. You know, so
When you said you're near Lithicum Heights, which that's near BWI Airport, right?
we're literally 2 minutes. I can hear the airplanes every day.
So think about all of the Amazon type places. Amazon itself obviously has a lot there, but all of the other logistics places, I would imagine warehouse space in that vicinity is at a premium.
Yeah, it
versus-
definitely is. St. John's
Yeah, so-
property owns it all.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know who this St. John guy is, but
Yeah,
he must be loaded. But
must be.
But yeah, no, seriously. Like, so to me, it's like, hey, maybe when you do look for a warehouse, you don't look in that area. Maybe you go somewhere where it's like, I can still hit my 30-mile target market, but
Yep.
I'm also not paying $12 a square foot. I'm only
Yep.
paying $8. So,
But when you looked at the storage units, you were looking at like the 95 corridor, right? Like you wanted to be over by there to shoot up and down to Baltimore, DC in the area, right?
I think preferably it would be nice. Glenburg, anywhere between, I'd say anywhere between 20 minutes away from where we're at right now would be fine, because DC and Baltimore is kind of our primary at the moment. So, you know, that's our market. So we're looking to branch out to Delaware and PA, but that's down the line somewhere. So
That's what I was thinking too with the storage. If you do want to branch out, I mean, your startup cost to do it is not going to be as expensive as if you have to do transportation, you know, from your main warehouse, if you were to own one, to all these far off locations. You've already built something that has a system to it. You can replicate it in different areas, and you already know your fixed costs for a lot of those things. And to your point, if Extra Storage is a large company, and there's facilities that are in the markets that you're looking to go to, you already have an existing relationship. You already have a relationship with U-Haul. So you have a lot of these things that you can already replicate without having to do too much homework moving forward.
it's funny you mentioned that, because we've been back and forth about, is this a franchisable opportunity for pretty much ever since we started. We started having like true success, I guess, and our customers saying like, oh, I would have bought from you guys, but then I bought from Bob's and I paid 6 times as much. You know, it's like, well, so we may want to franchise it one day. It's actually funny you bring that up.
not to mention, you can probably deliver, like my wife and I looked at a couch at Bob's Furniture, which is like, for those not around here, like just like a regional chain, I think. And the turnaround time was like 6 months, where like, if you're somebody like one of us, it would be like, hey, Trevor can deliver this couch tomorrow, and say it's for like a short-term rental property. I can't wait 6 months for the couch. I need it now. So that's,
We do a lot of Airbnb,
another,
a lot
I was
of
gonna say,
portfolio. Yep.
So I think there's a lot to be said about people who bootstrap nowadays. I just don't see it as much as I used to. Like, people who bootstrap are the ones who are going to make the 6 figures because they're willing to go the extra mile, whether it be the CEO or the guy who mops the floors. Like, it's just one of those things. Is a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They want to just get $1 per hour, a butt in the seat. And that's kind of one of the reasons we have this podcast, is like, there's other ways to make money rather than just your butt in your seat. Like, you can be somebody who wears multiple hats. If you're willing to put the work in, then you can potentially get the revenue from it, the financial aspect of it. Now, one thing I want to talk. So go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, what exactly does restoring it look like? Like, you shop vac it, spray with Febreze, slap on the back, and say, go get them? Like, what exactly does that look like? We hear that
every day. We hear that every day. So we actually do have an acronym. I don't have it in front of me. I can pull it up, but essentially, steam clean always, because we never know about allergens, pets. You know, we don't pick anything up with smoke, because majority of people don't want a smoking couch. But as far as pets go, cats, goats, whatever you own, we spray it down as like from top to bottom, underneath the fabric, underneath the dust cover, underneath the couch. So we really do a thorough job with the steam clean alone. We'll even go take the feet off, make sure that there's nothing hiding underneath the feet. And then, from there, it's just, getting rid of stains, getting rid of any excess fabric. We make it look brand new. I mean, if you were to put a plastic wrap on it, you would open it up, you would think you got it from Bob's or Ashley's or any big name.
So I was going to say, with COVID, you had varying levels of concern with COVID, but like, for instance, bed bugs, like how do you offer like the worry-free guarantee or something? Like, how do you basically appeal to the person that it's like, hey, this is clean, it is sanitized?
So as I mentioned before, trial and error. Before we really had our LLC, we made the mistake of selling a bed bug couch. So we've definitely learned from our mistakes, and we're very thorough when it comes to looking at a couch now. Going to pick it up, pay for it. I mean, top to bottom, we're looking at it, making sure it doesn't have roaches, bed bugs,
always a plus.
Fleas. Yeah, you got to be careful, especially now that we are an LLC. I mean, yes, we're protected, but at the same time, we don't want people to think of Coopers Couches as like they don't care. Like, we might get a crap couch. Like, no,
sure,
you're going to get a good quality couch from us.
Good product.
So once you sold the bed bug couch, you opened an entity. You had to get new reviews? No, I'm just kidding. So
you know what? Our reviews have been great. So
I was gonna say, do you work on getting reviews? Like, because like I'm just thinking, like, all right, I sell stuff on like Marketplace, but I very rarely buy stuff on Marketplace. However, I'm thinking, like, if I saw that and I was in the market to buy a couch and I was like, hey, I've heard about this place, people are going to look at your reviews. Now, whether you've bought reviews or they're actual authentic reviews, that's a whole nother thing.
Yep.
But I would say in this business, it would be imperative to have the good review to make sure people understand, like, hey, I'm not buying some sketchy frat stained, couch. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we definitely had a couple negative comments when we first started. But since then, we've had nothing but 4 and 5 stars, mainly 5 stars. I think we're up to about like 120, 125. So
yeah, that's really good. And our last episode, we were talking about short-term rentals and just how easy it is to get dinged as the host on Airbnb. Like, it's a real pain in the butt. Like, I feel like the customer has a lot more leverage than the owner or the host in the whole review game. And I understand that they're needed, but sometimes I'm like, there should be like a little bit of arbitration. Like, because these people can just completely, I was telling people, I got it. My cabin, like the review, it's like down to like a 3.67 because the last lady dinged us on the cell phone coverage.
So
I lost you, Trevor.
I had the same problem with when I was selling woodwork stuff. Like, when I was making woodwork, some of the stuff was rustic and some of the stuff was not. And I'm like, well, it says on there in the description, like, it's a rustic cabin or a rustic material that I'm trying to sell to you guys. So like, if you don't like rustic decor, then you probably shouldn't buy from me. Mike left, Tyler's on mute, and Trevor has got disconnected. So
way to go, Aaron. Way to hold everybody's attention.
Yeah. I'm getting so distracted, and it's like, everybody's just leaving me.
No, he got disconnected. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll wait until he hops back on, but there's a couple of things. A lot of guys, girls that are on the website, the biggest thing, is we talk about real estate mainly. Welcome back, Trevor.
I don't know what the hell just happened.
No worries. So we were just talking. So we talk about, the whole purpose of the Facebook group and the podcast is for first responders, to become financially free, whatever business it is. Aaron, Mike, and myself is real estate. Mainly, Aaron has woodworking and other things going on. But what I like about this, and correct me if I'm wrong, this seems like a low financial barrier for entry. Just need some elbow grease. And I'm sure there is startup costs, but compared to real estate, it's probably not as daunting. But you're making great money. I mean, to make 6 figures and to do this, I mean, that's awesome. So if you were to tell our Facebook group, hey, what was your startup cost originally? I know now your costs have significantly increased, but like, in addition to having capital for the couches,
Yep.
what did that look like?
Do you include anything where we use credit to buy something, or you mean just straight up?
No, but I just did think about that when I was asking that question. I was like, man, if you got a 0% interest credit card and you let this baby rock and roll, you could have free financing for this for a year to 18 months and have free capital.
So to be totally honest with you, Tyler, I don't think we ever ran the numbers. I want to say ballpark, it was roughly around, if you include financing as well, about 100,000 on the dot, 120. So
Shoot, that's higher than I expected it to be.
yeah,
Tyler, you're still on mute.
So that's as far as what you guys have spent on your costs.
correct. Yeah, and then again,
Okay.
just including, I mean, we completely went full throttle on this. We sold our cars and we bought trucks for the business. So
Oh, really? Before you guys had started buying couches, you did that?
before
Ooh, I
we
like it.
even we
Burn the ships.
we took the biggest leap of faith, Tyler.
I like
The
that.
biggest leap of faith. I put all my faith in this because I just believed in it. You know, when you believe in something, you know, you're willing to do whatever it takes. You know, I had so many people in my lifetime tell me, like, you're not going to do it. You can't do it. It's stupid. Go back to school. So for you to, you know, be able to prove somebody wrong it doesn't matter if you're making $1 million. I think that feeling alone is $1 million. So
For sure. And like Mike said, we always talk about this is you're never going to be criticized by somebody who's doing more than you anyways. It's the people who don't have the same fortitude that you do to try something, and they've already given up. So the easiest way is to bring you down back to them as opposed to build you up. So, well, you shot my theory down as far as a cheap startup cost, but I'll ask a question. Is there a way, I mean, so you said that you're getting acquisition for free on social media, and then obviously there's the cost of fixing, cleaning, and then shipping the couches, or I'm sorry,
Delivering.
there you go.
Yep.
Delivering the couches. You could assume that if somebody wanted to do this, they could do it, like Aaron mentioned, bootstrap, shoestring, until they got some revenue coming in.
For sure. I mean, there's a lot of individuals, as you want to call them, couch flippers in the DMV area. But you know, we're definitely the top. Not just because our volume, but because everywhere we go, people, like, they start to know us. They're like, "Oh, Coopers Couches. My brother bought a couch from you, or my cousin bought a couch from you." Or like, you know, they're like, "Do you deliver to Texas?" Like, not quite.
So one of the things I had a question about is, have you ever thought about expanding your business to where, like say that I bought a couch from you, or I didn't. I have a couch here. Would you be willing to come pick up, clean the couch, and bring it back for a fee?
We've talked about warranties, and we talked about that. At this time, I don't think we have the manpower to handle that, just because of the volume we're doing. But I wouldn't totally knock it off. I would definitely have to think about it some more.
So the only reason I asked that is we were at the last podcast. We were talking about the add-on value, like for Mike with a storage unit for, you know, putting in a soda machine or adding parking or boat and RV storage. Like, what else can you do to add on value to the company where it would make financial sense? And so that way you have more than one revenue stream coming in on this company. So it's not just pick up and sell. It's like, what else can I do?
I think that might be our next step. Of course, I got to talk it over with the CFO as well, my fiance. But we've been talking. You know, we can get many stains out, but there's a few things we just can't get out, and we'll end up just trashing it. So we definitely need to get some contracts drafted if we are going to go that route, just to make sure that, you know, our ass is covered.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think within what we do, we've had people, you know, ask us like, "Hey, I bought a table. Can you come pick it up and deliver it to me?" It's like, I don't have the time for that. We're just too busy. Our trucks are working for us right now. So
that's where you find somebody that does do something like that, and it basically becomes like an affiliate program. Like, oh yeah, I don't, but I use this guy, or yeah, go ahead, and then you just basically sub it out.
There's a company called Curry that's doing that now in the DC area. CURRI, where they want you to use your truck to pick up materials for job sites, pick up and deliver it. So there's other companies out there you can market.
Go to Home Depot, rent the one for $20.
Yep.
Bootstrap it that way.
Yeah. You know, when we first started, we were getting U-Haul trucks to get our couches, and that's where we were just wasting so much money. And not only that, but it's not guaranteed. When you have a truck, whether you finance it, you pay cash for it, you have it in your driveway, you have it in the parking lot. You can go grab a truck whenever you need it.
You can wrap it and park it at Walmart for advertising.
It's not a terrible idea.
It's our next step when we get the website going, hopefully next month, is to go out, put some bandit signs, go to some luxury apartments, say, hey, this is what we do. If you have a resident that needs a couch gone, let us know. And then I was telling Aaron earlier, recently I've been kind of connecting my real estate business, Home Solve Partners, with Coopers Couches, where we go to pick up a couch. They're like, hey, I'm actually selling my house. And I have a real estate agent I work with. I also wholesale. So, we can also do a sub-2 deal. We can figure out some type of situation where we can make it a win-win for both of us.
So using your company to expand on possible other ventures and doing more than one thing at a time. I love it. So have you looked into, I know we talked about this a couple months ago, the 179 tax code where you can buy these trailers or trucks and write them off under the tax code. Have you looked into that at all?
Yes. So we have our CPA. He did that for us last year.
Okay.
Or this past tax.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go over like what it is, like how you can benefit from it, or do you want me to, or Mike or
sure.
Tyler?
Sure.
All right. So, basic tax code is 179 tax code is a way for you to purchase equipment for your business, and there's a lot of rules and stipulations, and the cost of that is written off against your earned income. So, like if you bought you're a truck that's over 6,000 pounds. They used to call it the F-150 rule. You buy it, the cost is written off against your earned income from what you're using it for in your business. I got a buddy of mine who does that with a dumpster business and a dumpster rental and his trucks. So he buys new trucks and then he buys the dumpsters and he drops them off and picks them up. So he makes money and then writes it off against his new equipment. And it's just a great tool to have. The CPAs who do your taxes need to know these rules if you own a business, because it's a massive savings. So you're not getting taxed twice on some of these items.
You can only do this for the first year. So like, let's say I financed it, then I could not do that, correct? You would have to pay cash?
No. So I don't know how to explain this, to be honest with you. Tyler?
Yeah, you don't know, it can be financed for sure. So you can buy this stuff financed, and then you do. The whole benefit of it is it used to have 100% depreciation. I think it's up to like 75% or down.
Yeah, it went down.
Is to where you take that huge write-off that first year against your profit. So you can definitely finance it.
We will definitely be using 179 in the future. If we did not use it this year, I will be yelling at my CPA if we did not.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's the main thing is making sure that the vehicle meets the weight. Like if you buy like a little Ford Ranger, it doesn't weigh enough to meet that Section 179 rules. But if you just Google or look up on YouTube Section 179, there's 10,000 videos about it. So
you said F-150s, right? Qualified.
They used to call it the F-150 rule because
I thought it was the Hummer rule.
6.5 foot truck bed.
But yeah.
There's
How big?
Yeah, your truck bed has to be 6.5 feet. So that's why I have. It's funny because I have an F-150 and they're not as common, the 6.5 foot, but that's why you do it, so you can.
Is that the long bed, Tyler, or is that the short bed?
Well, they have an 8 foot.
Yeah, they have an 8 foot.
We have two 8 feet trucks. That's what we have. The long.
Yeah, so those will qualify. Yeah, and if you go to section179.org, that's a pretty good website. And pretty easy to remember.
Amazing.
These are the kind of conversations that are good because we learn stuff from each other. And like if I forget a facet, like I forgot all about the 6.5 foot bed. Like my truck is a 5.5 foot bed, so it wouldn't qualify for that 179 code. I also don't need one right now. But
put the bed extender on or something.
Yeah. I could bring it to West Virginia and have them just add on a different.
But that's one of those things, Trevor, like we've talked about, is a lot of times we only focus on increasing revenue streams, expanding versus like, hey, maybe I could just focus on keeping a little bit more of what I'm already making. Because like you were talking about doing less couches, but bigger margin, it's kind of like the same thing. Like the answer isn't always to flip more houses, wholesale more houses, get more rentals. It's like, how can I supersize what I'm already doing? And a lot of times that is reducing your tax consequences, which is usually the biggest expense any small business has. So something like that can be like the equivalent of 2 months of sales. So
I think our biggest obstacle hiccup is that we don't have a W-2. So this is our full time. This is our first year, and if we go out for any type of loan or anything like that, it's going to be tougher to get because we don't have that proven income, that W-2. Yeah,
For 2
sure,
years.
but
2 years.
but there's always opportunity. Like you talked about Ryan Pineda, which I've definitely listened to his show, but I follow a lot of the stuff Pace Morby does with Sub2 and Owner Finance, and he tells the story about how he tried to sell, I think it was his F-150, and he couldn't get anybody to bite, so he said he sold it on payments. I did the same thing with a 6x12 trailer I had. I sold it, wasn't getting what I wanted, so I offered it for sale on payments, and same thing happened is I sold it right away to somebody who didn't have a W-2 income but had some cash to put down, and ended up making way more by selling my trailer on payments versus just selling it outright on cash. So
did not even know you can do that with payments on something like
yeah,
that.
man,
That's
you can do
amazing.
anything. It's America's freest.
So what-
I was gonna say you can do anything. It's America.
So what's next, Trevor? Like, I know you're going to get the website up and running. I know you want to look at franchise down the road. So what are you doing to build and expand the company now?
So at the moment, was about 2 weeks ago, we actually had to fire somebody, potential stealing, and just not doing a good job, just being on their phone. And that actually, long story short, that actually forced me back in the field. So I am carrying couches. I am getting my hands dirty. I am working a couple 80-hour, work weeks just to make it happen and get this thing to the point where maybe it won't be on a private island, but at least I'll be on a vacation with my fiance or, future wife, and, we're hanging out, we have our kids and everything. I don't want to always be strapped to the business.
Don't forget Cooper.
Oh no, he's family. He'll be there. He'll be there for sure. But yeah, I mean, with the website, it's gonna increase our marketing. It's gonna increase. Everybody's gonna know about Coopers Couches is the goal. Whether you want to use our services, you want to get a couch from us. Hopefully, whether you want us to, some people say, oh, well, I have an old couch. I like one of your couches. Can we do an exchange? And we do offer like credit towards one of our pieces. We'll deliver it for you same day. We'll take away your couch.
So one of the things we kind of skipped over your marketing aspect of it. That's one of the things I want to go into is like, I know how you're set up. Like you have a nice stone wall in the background. You set the couches up at a certain angle at a certain type of day where the sun's hitting in a certain way. So is that kind of like, where do you offer up as one of them? Craigslist, you go on Facebook Marketplace. Where else are you picking up or selling them?
So we're finding them, picking them up from Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp. Craigslist is kind of old, but we still use it sometimes. Yep, a little outdated, but we still use it. And then we've done some estate sales. We've done some estate sales, and we've even gotten some from storage auctions.
Yeah.
So
the auctions, like I know I've sent you a couple of auctions. If anybody's interested, you can go on like highbid.com or auctionzip.com to see what kind of auctions are going on in your area. And I used to go to auctions all the time to flip stuff. Have you been going to any more auctions or estate sales since we talked?
We have been so busy with just our typical just Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp that we haven't even had the time.
Yeah, it's kind of time consuming going to them and bidding, and then either you win or you don't win, unless they're online.
It's a risk too. If we get we find a seller, they're at 400, we give them $100 and we go get it the same day. It's a little bit quicker, I guess.
Yeah, two birds in the hand is better than one, or one in the hand is better than two in the bush.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, at this time, with the amount of manpower we have, I just want to see consistency over the next couple months. And then once the website, finally gets launched, we've been waiting for about 2-3 months, but once it finally gets launched, I'm hoping to, instead of see 15 to 25. I'm trying to see about 25 to 35 a week. So, and then we'll probably end up bringing a couple more people in.
So if you were to expand, and this is just me spitballing when we were talking about this, like I know places like Bob's Furniture or a couple places in PG, the names are eluding me right now. They basically wholesale couches. They get couches from overseas, they put them together, then turn around and sell them brand new.
Yep.
Have you looked at that yet?
You know what? We looked at something a little similar. We were looking at, where we could find like liquidation sales, buy in bulk and then just resell for, even if it's not 350, 150, 200, we're buying in bulk. We're going to make more money, obviously. So we've looked at that. We haven't necessarily looked at the overseas aspect, but we have talked about actually creating our own brand and making our own furniture. So working with a local supplier. I don't know. North Carolina has a lot of them, so
yeah,
possibly North Carolina.
Just slide up into PA and get some Amish furniture.
Yeah.
So instead of like Bob's Discount Furniture, it'll be Trevor's Discount Furniture.
I don't know about Trevor's Discount Furniture, but it will be something. It'll have a better ring to it. Maybe we'll have.
I like Cooper's Couches. It rolls off the tongue very easily.
What's that?
I like Cooper's Couches. It rolls off the tongue very easily.
We had a few other names. Not going to mention them. Cooper's Couches. It took.
I was going to say we could get some firemen to come up with some for you. I guarantee they'd be great. Completely inappropriate, but great.
We were definitely in the inappropriate level. And my girlfriend at the time, she asked me, "Are you sure we can name a company this?" I was like, "You're probably right. I think Cooper's Couches is a win." And then she drafted a logo herself, and then that was.
Casting couches is not the best option. I can tell you that.
What was that?
Casting couches is definitely not the best option.
Casting couches.
So, all right, we're about 50 more minutes into this thing. So what's I know real estate's up next up. We kind of skimmed over that as well. So we talked about hiring a VA. We talked about online jobs.ph to find somebody. So how are you transitioning more into real estate lately? Because I know you're going to escrow into one soon by me.
Yeah, actually today I've been getting spammed by my partner like 6 times during this call, but I'll get to it afterwards. This is more important. Right now I'm actually spending nothing besides just whatever cost we use for Cooper's Couches. So I was just explaining to Aaron earlier, we went to go pick up a couch. It was just yesterday, day before, and within 5 minutes I had a lady say, "I want to move to DC." I was like, "Do you have any idea what you want for your property?" Within about 5-10 minutes, "When do you want to sell? What's your time frame?" She was like, "You are going to be the one I sell it to. I promise." Like, "Yeah, I love you." It's all about the relationship, making someone feel comfortable with you. And it cost me nothing. We were able to flip a couch. We flipped it within a day for like $550. And then on top of that, I built a great relationship, and I can help this lady, I guess, achieve her dreams of living in DC. So
on the side of your 2 8-foot beds, you can put Cooper's Couches, and about that on the tailgate, we buy houses.
We buy houses.
Yep. I'll buy your couch or your house. Which one you want to sell to me?
It's funny because one of my buddies asked me, like, "So are you in real estate or you do couches?" I was like, "Why can't I do both?"
It's all the same. It's all under the same roof, right?
Exactly. Are you selling your house? Are you selling your couch too?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was Ian introduced himself as an opportunistic investor. That's all you are, whether it be couches, whether it be houses.
Yep.
I don't discriminate. I buy both.
It puts a roof over your family's head, puts food on the table, and
a place to sit and eat it.
That is true. I mean, we get a new couch every month, by the way, guys. I just want to
seriously. I have a couch upstairs. I'm thinking, I could sell this thing.
On payments.
Yeah. Well, it's like a nice leather couch that I bought from one of my neighbors when they were moving for $100, and it's like the edges are a little frayed, but it's like Cooper's
Cooper.
Like, "I'll buy it."
You're right.
So I'm like, man, when I go to sell this thing, I'm just going to list it for like 300, see if I can use it for 2 years and triple my money.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll armor all it. I'll make it, take some good pictures. I don't have a stone wall, but I'll see what I can do.
Aesthetic is everything, If somebody likes the way a car looks, I don't care. 15,000 above what I'm looking
There's
for.
a reason that they pay somebody to come wash and detail the cars that sit on the lot. They don't just leave them looking like shit.
Yep.
It's because they want you to come in and see the tire shine and how shiny it is. And You know what I mean? Like that's
Yep.
common sense, I would
Oh,
think. But
absolutely.
you
Just
know,
like
it's
a
the
real
same
estate
thing.
agent. They're like, oh,
Ugh.
300,000 for this house. Let me furnish it. Let me
I
do
mean,
my thing. 325. 325. So
I have an ongoing joke with my business partner who's a realtor. I'm like, dude, 80% of real estate agents are horrible, like just horrible. And anytime there's a listing that hits the MLS that has crappy pictures, I send it to them. I'm like, I would have fired this person before they ever got started. It's like I have one where it's like a $600,000 house, and you can tell they took the picture from within the car because you can see the outline of the car frame window.
That's terrible.
Can't even get out of the
I'm
car.
like, a $600,000 listing. You think they could get their happy little ass up the driveway and take some pictures? First off, I would have made them get professional photos, but it's just,
Even at a 2.5% commission, that's a nice check.
Exactly. Like on a normal, it doesn't have to be that expensive of a house. Just anyways, it's the same thing.
Just do your job, right?
Everybody's looking at them on their computer, on their phone. Like it needs to, you need to sell it before they ever step foot into it. And we talked about that a little bit ago with the digital staging. Is you kind of have to sell it based on the photos. So
it's funny you bring that up. That's something we were actually contemplating on our website. Do we want to do that whole digital aspect so people can kind of get a feel for, what is it going to look like in their living room or wherever they choose to put the couch? So.
Yeah, the biggest thing I always forget when I sell stuff like that is like I take a couple photos, throw it up there, and then people want dimensions. I'm like, oh God, who cares? I don't know. It's a couch. It's like or a refrigerator. I don't know. It's not a little one. It's not a big one.
The last one Trevor delivered for me was a 14-foot couch, so I needed the measurements coming into it. And it was funny because I messaged the guy. This is after the dogs ate my couch. I messaged the guy, and he goes, "Oh, Trevor's coming to pick this couch up." And I was like, "It wouldn't happen to be Trevor." I'm not even gonna butcher your last name again. I was like, "It's not gonna be this Trevor P, is it?" And he's like, "Actually, yeah. Do you know him?" I text Trevor,
God.
and I was like, "Hey, man, how much for you just to pick it up and drop it off at my house?" And he's like, "Well, normally I do this." He's like, "But I'll deliver it for this." I was like, "Sweet, do it." So save me a trip to go pick it up.
It's so funny you said that because the minute I walked in, do you know an Ethan? I'm like, Ethan? He was like, yeah, Ethan Forster. I'm like, old white guy, maybe 70 years old, just selling his house. Yeah, Ethan Forster. He messaged me. He asked if I knew who you were. I'm like, is his name Aaron Foster by chance? He goes, oh yeah, it's that.
Very small world.
Oh yeah. We again glued to my phone at the moment. But hopefully that will change soon.
So all right, so we're wrapping this thing up. I got a couple questions for you.
Absolutely.
The first question is going to be, if you can go back and give your younger self advice, what would that advice be?
Oh man, don't get me started, Aaron. Don't buy 7 cars. Don't try to be the coolest kid on the block. That's probably one of my biggest ones. 2, take
Were you
care
flipping
of
cars?
7 cars.
Were you flipping them, or is that just
stupidity?
Those were yours.
Just pure stupidity. I loved Mustangs. I loved Mustangs, cool. And my dad and my mom were like, if that's what you want and you have the credit, you go figure your mistakes out, young. So I learned when I was young, but it put me about $40,000 in debt. That's not including student loans either. So that's number 1. Number 2, take care of yourself. Nobody's going to take care of you like yourself if you really put the time into it. I truly believe I would not be having seizures and having all these issues that I'm having now at 27 years old if I actually took care of myself. I wasn't drinking Red Bull just because I worked for the company. Who gives a shit? Just because you work for a company doesn't mean you got to drink their drink. You got to wear their logo on your shirt, So your health, number 2. I could rant on about that for a while. And then number 3, don't worry about the mistakes you make, because the more mistakes you make, calculated mistakes, the better off you're going to be. Maybe not in your 20s, maybe not in your 30s, but your 40s.
Calculated is a good word to highlight there, because if you go willy-nilly and just start firing off a gun in all directions, like, you don't know where the bullets are going to fall. But if you actually aim a little bit, you actually have a general idea where they're going to fall, and you can minimize your potential downfall of the mistakes you make. So I think that calculated is a very important. term.
We've said it numerous times, but the ready, fire, aim mentality, it's not that advocating be reckless, but just realize that you're going to take action. You're going to screw up. You're going to have to correct yourself, correct your further actions. But it's not meant to be like, oh, well, I have to do everything perfect before I can take action. No, man, you're going to screw up. You're going to have failures. You're going to learn. So.
Yep, but
Last
it's
question.
not everybody that's going to take that leap of faith and going to take action. And I've learned that, my family at first, my friends, like, they just finished school. You got 4 classes left. Cybersecurity, bro, get it done. $120K a year. Work for the government. Work for the man. I was like, I'm not doing it. So, but I'm glad. I'm super happy. I feel like this isn't a job. I have a great life. I can't complain. So I'm super, super grateful for everything.
So that'll lead us into our last question. What is your motivation? What gets you kind of up in the morning, moving forward and keep doing what you're doing? What was your motivation?
Between all of the bad times I've experienced these past couple of years, 4 seizures, almost $15,000 to $20,000 in hospital bills. And I think about those every day. Just going from trying to be an IFBB pro professional bodybuilder to now experiencing this, it's just such a change in my life. And I live for a different reason. I don't live to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger or whoever you think is the biggest dude and, looks good. I live for my family. I live for my happiness, and I live for the memories at this time. What can I do to put not only myself, but my future family in the best hands possible? So
that's a great answer. The motivation to have a better quality of life is always a big driving factor for me as well. And Mike Tyler and I talk about this all the time. It's like, sometimes we make quality of life purchases, and even if it's not the smartest purchase, it makes my life better. So it's a smarter move.
I think once I became an uncle just recently, niece turned a year old. I got to see her the other day, seeing that smile on my face, and unfortunately they weren't 100% financially prepared. It makes me want to be 10 times financially prepared because babies aren't cheap, obviously. So I want to make sure my kids have
vouch for that.
Quality of life.
Mike and Tyler can vouch for that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Man. You guys want to wrap up with anything? Anything we missed out? Trevor, you want to go over?
Man,
no, good stuff.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is one of those things like everybody I think sometimes gets a little worried about the cost of real estate and how much it costs to get started. Like, here, start with couches, man. Go start flipping a couch a week or flipping something. Like, this is one of those prime examples of like action cures fear. So just super cool story, something I've never really thought much about, but now I'm like pretty intrigued about this whole operation. So Trevor, thanks for spending some time with us. Greatly appreciate it, man.
Follow Coopers Couches. We might be the next Bobs, who knows, or the next Ashleys or Havertys, or you name it.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Right on. Thanks, Trevor.
Episode number 23 with Coopers Couches, Trevor. And this is me, Aaron Foster, with Mike Webb and Tyler Thrush, wrapping up episode 23 of First Responder Financial Freedom. And we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks again for spending some time with us today. If you found value in anything you heard, please share with someone who may benefit. We look forward to connecting between shows in our Facebook group, First Responder Financial Freedom. Till next time.